including UMKC Women of Color Conference, Blue Cross Blue Shield Diversity Conference, Society of Human Resource Management, and Kauffman Foundation Business Summit. Alyssa's formal education includes a MBA from Webster University, MPA from Keller Graduate Schools of Management, and is currently completing a dissertation to earn a PhD in industrial psychology, organizational development. Her motivational messages to professionals have fueled them to write books, start businesses, and turn their dreams into a vision of reality. Alyssa has authored 5 books: Catch the Vision, Stay the Course, Chronicles, Covered and Revealed, Gems, Dig Deep, Build High, From the Beginning and Find It, From the Beginning and Find It, Follow It, Finish It. Mindset Shift to Ignite Your Vision. Alyssa is called to reveal lives and ignite vision. Help me welcome Alyssa Hillen. Come on, put your hands together.
Thank you so much. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I don't know if you're like me, but I am a morning person, right? So some of you are probably just waking up and getting your day started. So I'm going to ask you to stand up. And I'm going to ask you to take the biggest stretch that you can take. And while you're taking that stretch, I'm going to ask you a question before I have you sit down. Are you ready to move up? Yes. So that you can move out? Yes. We're not moving over. We're moving up to move out. If you're ready to move up so that you can move out, I want to hear you say as loud as you can, ignite my vision. Say it again, ignite my vision. You can have a seat. As he said, I am Alyssa Henley. I'll skip through all the preliminaries about me. He read my bio. Thank you so much for that great introduction. I am excited to be here today. And the reason why I am excited to be here today is because someone helped me ignite my vision when I was a teenager. So I come from a little bit of a different angle. I'm here to motivate you and inspire you to take some type of action, whatever that action is. So I need everybody to take out one piece of paper, and I need you to have an ink pen, because there are some assignments or some takeaways. I feel like anytime that I'm asked to speak, if I cannot give you some takeaways, I've not done my job. So I'm going to give you some takeaways, and while you're doing that, I'll say this. I did bring some resources with me today. I am the author of 5 books. However, I only bought 3 of them today, and I'll explain to you what they are. The first one is Catch the Vision, Stay the Course, and that's written to people who feel like God have called them to do more than what they're doing, but they just are a little apprehensive about stepping out. And so in this book, I tell the real story. Go ahead and step out. Read this book. Know that your vision is from God, but what do I do once I know that my vision is from God? I talk about the giants that you'll face. I talk about applying wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to your vision. I talk about what do you do in those seasons where it's silent. You thought you heard from God, but now he's not saying anything. What do I do now? Yeah, I tell the real story in that book. The other resource that I brought is Dig Deep, Build High. And I wrote that book to people that are not sure if it's time for them to make their side hustle their main hustle. And so I talk about in that book the different aspects of starting a business or being an entrepreneur, and when do I know to really step out and pursue this full time. The third resource that I bought is my latest book. It's called Find It, Follow It, Finish It, 12 Mindset Shifts to Ignite Your Vision. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Because a lot of us, we have vision. Where's my timekeeper? Okay. A lot of us, we have vision, but it's something within us that's holding us back. And that's why I said, or ask, are you ready to move up so that you can move out? Because ultimately, we have to get to a position where we're not working in our business all the time, but in some places we're working on our vision, but then at other times, people are making the vision happen and you're just earning money. But that takes a mindset shift to do that. When I was 19 years old, actually when I was 14 years old, I talk about it in Catch the Vision, Stay the Course. When I was 14 years old, I decided that I was not going to live life the way the people around me live life. What I saw around me was teenage pregnancy, drug abuse, poverty, all of that good stuff. And I decided at 14, I don't want to live like that. Because the goal in my household, you ready, was to graduate high school without having any babies. That was the goal. And that was as lofty as they could get, right? It wasn't lofty enough for me. Now, I did achieve that, right? I did achieve that. So I did graduate high school, but also no one in my entire family had ever gone to college. So I decided, and she and I are still friends today, Jennifer Hearns, we're best friends. We've been friends since we were 13 years old. I decided in 8th grade not to go to the neighborhood school any longer, and I enrolled in a school where I had to be bused. We heard Dr. Troy Nash talk about that yesterday. I'm originally from St. Louis, so this was in St. Louis. So I had to be bused. So I went to this school and I met Jennifer Hearns, and everything Jennifer Hearns learned in her family, she came to school and taught me. So it came time for us to graduate from high school, and graduate from 8th grade, and she says, well, what high school are you going to? I said, well, I don't know. My options are to enroll in another program or go back to the neighborhood school. She says, well, I'm going to ROTC. I said, well, I guess I am too. So we enrolled in a military high school. We made it through our 4 years of high school, but my freshman year of high school, I met a young lady named Daniela Bozovich, and I'm telling this story because I didn't know it then, but along the way, all of these people helped ignite the vision within me. I met a young lady named Daniela Bozovich. Some people in my family a couple of my sisters didn't even graduate high school. My mom didn't graduate high school. So here I am in high school. I got a very new experience. I don't know, the first thing about navigating a freshman year, nobody told me, nobody set me down and said, this is what's going to happen. I met Daniela Bozovich. Everything Daniela Bozovich family taught her, guess what? She came to school and she taught me. Down to the point of how to fill out a college application, how to apply for grants, how to apply for loans, all of that good stuff. I graduated high school, no babies. I graduated high school. I went on to college. I did graduate college. I became a first-generation college graduate. So I became a first-generation college graduate. But when I was 19, in college, taking classes locally, and my family could not afford to send me off to college, taking classes, a young lady was a guest speaker in one of our classes. At this point, I had not declared a major. And she was a human resources consultant. She was an independent contractor, and she was telling us all of this stuff about human resources and personnel and strategic planning and leadership development. And I said, wow, that's what I want to do. So I declared a major, and I began to take human resources classes along with my business classes, and I ended up graduating from college with a BS in business administration with an emphasis in human resources management. That young lady helped ignite a vision within me. But the first thing I had to realize in the book that I write about, my first mindset shift was dreams are not enough. Because dreams without action is just hallucination. So they're not enough. I had a dream of graduating high school without any baby, so I had to protect that. I had a dream of going to college, so I had to take some action to make that happen. I realized not wanting to be a product of my environment was a dream, but I had to take some action to make it a vision. So your first mindset shift, write it down. First mindset shift, your dream is not enough. And don't get it twisted. Now, when people tell you you are a dreamer, that's nothing positive. Because what they're saying is that you always come up with these big ideas, but you never take any action. You're just a dreamer. Don't let that be your testimony. So I become a first-generation college graduate. I go on to live my life, no HR experience, trying to get an HR job. That's difficult within itself, right? Some of you might be in HR, well, you don't have any experience, but I got a college degree. Doesn't matter. You don't have any experience. So I met a young lady when I was working, because I never worked until I was 20 years old. I needed a car. And So God will place people in your life to give you what you need at that moment. My mother had bought me a little raggedy car when I was 16. You know, it was operating on a wing and a prayer. I'm 20 years old now. I need a car, so I need a job because I need to buy a car. I talked to a young lady in the College Student Center, and she says, you should go to your counselor and ask about a stay-in-school program. Well, what is that? Well, that was a place where they would give minorities jobs if you were in college. So my very first job was in an office. I worked for the Coast Guard, so I never had to wait tables. I don't know what that's like. Now, I believe I would be good at it if I had to do it. But I never had to do that. So I got this job working for the Coast Guard, and I met someone else who helped ignite my vision. Her name is Debbie Sims. And Debbie Sims taught me a lot of things, but one of the things that she taught me is how to be a sharp dresser and how to carry myself like a lady. So she said, when you graduate college, you need to get this. Always have you 2 or 3 nice suits, have you a nice handbag, have you at least one nice set of accessories. She said, figure out what hairstyle works for you. At the time, I had a lot of hair. Figure out what hairstyle works for you. She said, get you about 2 pair of pumps. She said, if you don't have anything else, these are the things that you need, the staple items that you need in your wardrobe. So I kept going on job interviews, and I would get compliments all the time about, oh, you look so nice. Oh, you're so professional, because she taught me those things. But one day, I walked in and I had on a pair of brand new pumps that I got from JCPenney at the time. I remember what they looked like. I don't remember the name of them. And the lady said, I have those same shoes. I said, really? They're really comfortable. She says, oh, and they're really sharp, and you wear them well. You know what, young lady? I'm going to take a chance on you. So I got my very first job within 6 months of being out of college, all because somebody helped ignite the vision in me of how to carry myself like a lady and be professional and how to dress, for better lack of terms. And so, but in realizing that my dreams were not enough, one other thing I had to realize too, the second mindset shift that I talk about in the book, is that your vision is your legacy. It wasn't just for me to go to college. It wasn't just for me to become a first-generation college graduate. It wasn't just for me to go on to graduate school and get 2 master's degrees. That wasn't just for me. It wasn't just for me to write books. It was because everything that I achieved in my life, every business that I started, and I've started 2, and they're still in operation. I've been in full-time business since 2004. So I'm going, 14 years strong now. So it wasn't just for me, though. It was for a legacy. Because every book that I write, every business that you start, every book that you write, everything that you do, it will live on beyond you. And I heard her say yesterday that she have a vision for her daughter to take over her business and continue that legacy. Every decision that you make from this day forward is going to be a part of your legacy. So what legacy do you want to leave? And we're not just talking about money, because you can get an insurance policy and leave some money. We learned that yesterday. But what do you want people to be saying about you even after you expire? My great-grandparents, I never met them, but I met my grandmother. My grandmother was born somewhere around 1915, 1920, somewhere around that era. And my grandmother used to always tell me a story about her parents. She said that her parents had a car, they had cattle, they had land, and they had a smokehouse. They was really probably well-to-do. In the 1920s, if you got a car, you got land, you got cattle, and you got a smokehouse. I said, well, Grandma, what happened to your parents? She says, well, my father was in the hospital dying of cancer, and my mother was on her way to see him, and she got into a car accident. The car caught a fire. She died. She passed away, and he also passed away. And she would always tell me, and I just don't know what happened to my inheritance. I tell that story because I believe my great-grandfather, his name was James Turner, as my grandmother told me. I believe that he had a vision for his family, and he was leaving a legacy for his family. So not only would his children enjoy the fruits of his labor from the cattle, the land, the car, and the smokehouse, but their children would be able to enjoy it, and their children would be able to enjoy it. And even though my grandmother didn't know, she's deceased now, even though she didn't know what happened to the assets, the legacy still lives on. Why? Because she told the story to me. And now I'm telling the story to you. So her vision, their vision is still their legacy. It's still their legacy. So once I realized that my vision was my legacy, I began to look at it differently. And as a result of that, I now have become a first generation business owner, right? So everything that I do from this point on is about a legacy. But even in living my legacy, I had to realize that the wilderness experience is a must. I'm not going to tell you that it's all going to be peachy, it's going to be easy. I wouldn't be telling you the truth. But think about this, write that down. That's your third mindset shift. The wilderness experience is a must. It's a must. And the wilderness experience is a place where you grow. It's a place of crushing. And if you refuse to go through the wilderness experience, then you are refusing to grow. And how many of us want to grow by a show of hands? I want to grow. So yeah, you have to shift your mindset. You have to shift your mindset to know, one, that your vision is your vision because of a dream that you had. But in order for it to become a vision, you have to put some action behind it. Yes, your vision is your vision. A dream is a dream. How will you connect the two? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. How will you connect the two? Because everybody is a dreamer, but everybody won't be a visionary. So you have to decide which side of the fence are you on. I ask people all the time, we're all entrepreneurs, we're all business owners. Some of us have for-profit businesses. Some of us have non-taxable income businesses. I just learned that yesterday, right? So I'm trying to remember. Remember, we're engaging. I'm moving up and moving out as well, just like you are. So I'm a speaker here, but I came here to learn to be a blessing and to be blessed. Amen? Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, when we think about that, you have to think about what side of the fence are you going to be on? Are you going to have a dream, or are you going to create a vision so that you can leave a legacy or have a legacy for your family? And then once you embark upon that, are you going to allow yourself to go through the wilderness experience and come out as pure gold, right? Come out better than what you went in. The other mindset shift, the last mindset shift that I'm going to cover out of the 12 that I talk about in this book is one that I think is very, 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 very important. I remember being on an airplane one day, and the plane landed, and the little girl's mom asked her, "How are you doing?" She says, Mommy, I'm very, very hungry." This is very, very important. Anytime they said two things what in the Bible, that means you better listen, you better take charge, right? So this is very, very important. The other mindset shift that I want to cover is that there is a yes in the valley of no. There's a yes. But what we have to realize and what we have to do is shift our mindset, because when we hear no, we think that that's a final answer. That's not a final answer, because no doesn't always mean no. No could mean I don't have time to talk with you about this right now. No could mean I'm busy right now. No could mean I just suffered a death in my family, so no, I'm not interested. They're saying, no, I'm not interested, but no could be something different than the no that they are putting out to you. And so you have to shift your mindset. You have to shift your mindset to know that there is a yes in the valley of no. Not every no actually means no. And so we've covered four mindset shifts out of the 12 that I write about. And the reason why I wrote this book is because I think that it's time in our community that we talk to each other and help each other ignite their vision so that we can help the generation coming after us to ignite their vision. As a child, I don't remember my mother talking to me a lot. And again, I was raised in a single parent home. I'm the youngest of 5 girls. And my mother was doing the best that she can to raise 5 girls on her own. And I'm the youngest, and I'm 47. So I have sisters older than me. My 2 oldest sisters one had my niece and one had my nephew when I was 8 years old. So I grew up with some of my nieces and nephews. But the point that I'm making is I don't ever recall my mother having a conversation with me about purpose and vision. Now, I'm sure that she did in some respect of it because she wouldn't be a mother if she didn't. But it wasn't impactful enough for me to remember that today, standing on this stage. But I want us to venture off into having conversations with our younger generations about purpose and vision to help begin to steer their life in the direction that it should go. But it requires us first to make a mindset shift so that we can help them make a mindset shift. So I've given you 4 mindset shifts. Again, I have resources out there if you're interested in them. If not, we don't fall out about it. I'm okay with that. The last thing, how my vision was ignited, I was somewhere participating. I wasn't a speaker. Someone else recommended me to speak at a conference. This person called me, and I got my first speaking engagement internationally. I get to go to London in October and speak at a Born to Reign conference. And one of the blessed things about that is because I was successful in getting my vision ignited and helping other people, I get to take my mother along with me. So she's very excited. So when you ignite your vision, you have to know that things will begin to fall in place to get you to the next level. Remember, we're doing what? We're moving up to move out. Say moving up to moving out. Are there any questions for me?
What was number 2?
Well, let me just give them all to you. The first one, because the first one is your dreams are not enough. The second one is your vision is your legacy. The third one is the wilderness experience is a must. And the fourth one was there is a yes in the valley of no. Any other questions? Does that mean I just did a fabulous job? Well, thank you so much for your time.
Come on, we can do better than that. Awesome job. Your dreams are just, if you don't put action to your dreams, it's just a what? A hallucination. Isn't that something? Yeah. That was awesome. Next we have a young lady, I guess we skipped her bio last night. I don't think she read the whole bio. But she basically
And then I watch him, and I'm getting to know him, and I'm an observer of people, and I can tell when he's getting another insight. I can tell when something has just dropped into his spirit for BlackCEO. And that computer gets to working, and I can see it in his eyes. Something just became clear for him, for us. And everything he's doing is for Black business owners to get to the next level. And that's an amazing sacrifice for people you don't even know. But because you're a Black business owner, you're a Black entrepreneur, he's committed to getting us to the next place, and that's the wealth place. And that's what this whole conference is about, creating that wealth plan, which starts in our mind, starts in our head, and then it produces in our business. And so this man has opened up a world of opportunity for us as Black business owners. And now we're Black entrepreneurs for sure. And so please put your hands together and give honor where honor is due, and acknowledging this great man, Trevor Hawks.
Thank you, my friend. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. So, one, it's always good to be back in Kansas City, where the first actual BlackCEO chapter conference is happening. There are a lot of things that we're going to be doing moving forward into 2018 and beyond, and we're really going to need your help in carrying it out. And so, first, I want to say this, is that we've looked at a lot of different Black organizations, and we've looked at how they are operating. And here's what I want you to write down on your paper. The day of our new freedom is nigh. The day of our new freedom is nigh. That is to say that I believe that when we look at freedom, I had to look at it from a formulaic standpoint. I believe everything you want in life, all success, everything has a formula to it. If you know the formula, you can replicate the result. So let's look at the formula for freedom. Free from plus free to equals freedom. Is what did you get free from? And you didn't get free from something for no reason. You got freed from something so you could get free to do something. Now, how will you ever know that you're free unless you actually use your freedom? Free from plus free to equals freedom. And I started looking at the fact that we have been freed as slaves in the United States, but yet we are economic slaves in our own communities. And so there are some things that we're going to have to get free from. I came out of real estate, for those people who don't know. Actually, I made my first million in real estate. And here are some facts and figures that any Black real estate agent knows. First fact is that 80% of all African Americans are credit damaged. Credit damage. Second fact is that when you go to get a business loan, there are two main things that they look at: credit and collateral. The number one piece of collateral that most small business owners put up is their what? House. And in the last major market crash, what did they find? That African Americans were unfairly targeted with basically bad loans, which basically impacted our what? Credit. And so here we go running off to the banks, and when we get to the bank, the first thing we want is a business loan to invest in our Black businesses, our Black ideas, our Black concepts. And the first thing they're gonna wanna know about is your what? Credit. And if you don't have credit, they want what? Collateral. And so what happens is we are involved in a loop that a very small percentage of our community is going to be able to benefit from. So here's what I realized, is we're going to have to come away from the banks temporarily. Because when we arrive at the banks, we arrive with our hat in hand. But I can tell you, we're not here to be saved. We're here to do the saving. Have Blacks in the United States been victimized, and have they been victimized all over the world. I've been to South Africa, I've been to London. Story is the same over and over again. Have we been victimized? Yes. That ain't got nothing to do with us being a victim. The victim part, we did that ourselves. When we decided that we were going to stay in a depressed state because of what somebody did to us. Newsflash, they doing stuff to people all over the world. They do it to some people who are black. They do it to people who have different religions. They do it to people who don't have the same money. Somebody somewhere always in the world, no matter where they are, somebody somewhere is always being victimized. But whether they stay a victim or not, that has everything to do with them. So we are moving out of the victim mentality. So that gets us back to what are we going to be doing at the BlackCEO chapters. Every BlackCEO chapter has member dues. And what we looked at is what we were going to start doing with those member dues. I want you to imagine that the BlackCEO Kansas City chapter has member dues that are $99 a month. I want everybody to write that down. How much money did I say? $99 a month. If I have 100 members in my chapter, because I'm not all that great with numbers, if I have 100 members in my chapters, how much money is that a month? If they're paying me $100 a month? Yeah, so about $10,000, okay? So what we're going to be doing with all of the chapters is we will be routing back 60 to 70% of those monies back to the actual businesses in those chapters. Let me tell you what that looks like. If I got a $10,000 that came in that month, what's going to happen is that would mean about $7,000 goes back into a pool within that chapter. That pool will be set up in such a way that you will be able to apply for it based upon a business need or a business idea. Everybody write that down. Based upon a business need or a business idea. Now, the way that that process will happen is that every month there will be a pitch fest where you can pitch for a need or you can pitch for an idea. You can pitch for a what? A need, or you can pitch for a what? An idea. There'll be a certain number of people who can pitch every meeting, and based upon that, the membership will decide who will be the recipient of that month's grant for a business need or a business idea. This is what we've been working on. This is what your leadership has been working on. This is what the lawyers have been working on. Now, the reason why we've decided to do this is because by the time we get to 2019, BlackCEO will be the largest investor of black businesses in the country. We will have invested in more black businesses in the world than any bank or than any institution that you know of. That what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take care of our own. So, what does it mean to now be a member? What does it mean to be a member of BlackCEO Kansas? BlackCEO Kansas and BlackCEO South Africa are the first models to actually start, or the first membership to start rolling out this particular model. So each of you who are members, here's what will happen. If you are a member in good standing, you will be able to pitch your business need or business idea. There will be panels. On those panels will sit your president, your vice president, and experts that they have selected. Anybody ever watch Shark Tank? I love Shark Tank. When people go to Shark Tank, they want two things. What are the two things they want? First thing they want is money, and the second thing they want is their guidance. On Shark Tank, how do they decide who gets the money? They rich, right? Who decides who gets the money? The sharks. Which we looked at and we said, we're not going to do it that way. But we get what you want. You need investment in your ideas and your needs. What you don't need us to be is judge and jury. So let's look at American Idol. In American Idol, how do you decide who wins? Who decides the winners? The audience. So in your Black CEO chapters, what we wanted to make sure that you have is the guidance and the money, but the member base, because it's your money. It's whose money? Your money. That the members will decide who will be the recipient of that month's grant for a need or an idea. So we looked at all of the different organizations out there. And it's funny because as we started looking at the different organizations out there, we started looking at organizations that were set up for networking. We started looking at organizations that were set up to teach you about business. But at the end of the day, nobody really wanted to put their money where their what was? Their mouth. And so what we realized is that everything we need, we have right here. We have right here in this chapter. So what does that mean for you? For each of you, by the way, how many people in here are actually members? Just raise your hand. Good. If you're not, you need to fast track to get over to being a member almost, in the next 2 seconds. Because what's going to happen is each of us, when we start showing up to these meetings, we're going to start incentivizing the reason why you show up to the meeting. Let me tell you this. I'm tired of showing up to meetings to be preached at. I'm just tired of it. When we get people who's like, all you got to do is this, all you got to do is that, all you got to do is this. At some point, there needs to be an incentive to showing up at meetings other than just motivation. And so one of those incentives is that those people who are in good standing will be able to qualify to pitch their need or their what? Their idea. And if they can pitch their need or their idea, provided that it's set up correctly, they will be the recipient of that month's grant. Now, a couple things that'll take place. Because we understand that many businesses do fail. Here's the thing. If they do fail, we won't be looking to damage your credit. We can't use that system. It already doesn't favor us. So we have to use a different model to ensure integrity. And the way that we will ensure the integrity of the monies that have been rendered is we will ensure it by using community-based integrity. Meaning understanding that the debt that you have is not to me, it's not to your bank, but it's to your peers, it's to your community, it's to your tribe. What is BlackCEO? BlackCEO is a tribe. And a tribe is about a commitment to something greater than yourself, to someone other than yourself. And so as we start to roll this out, which you will start seeing this rolled out almost immediately in Kansas City. If Darnell gets up here and she teaches you about, let's just say, using social media ads to grow your business. And let's just say, for instance, she says that you should be running on average ads for at least $1,000 a month for a startup business. Let's just say she says that, right? That next month, you're going to have a bunch of businesses who are looking to run ads for their businesses. But let's say you have the money to run your ads, you have the money to run your ads, and you have the money to run your ads. But you don't have the money to run your ads. What are you going to do? You're going to pitch. Now, just because you pitch doesn't mean that you're going to get it. There'll be panels. You'll see people sitting on those panels, people like Darnell, people like myself. It won't be an easy ride because they'll ask you questions. One of the things I really respect about Darnell Jervey is she is a truth sayer. She speaks the truth. But different than most people who speak the truth, she steps inside that truth with you and then guides you to your next place of elevation. So these people who will be asking you questions, they will be stepping inside that truth with you. What are you going to advertise? What are you going to market? What's going to be the message? What's going to be the price point? How are you going to grow this? There'll be real questions. There'll be people asking financial questions. There'll be people asking marketing questions, people asking branding questions, people asking technology questions, not because they're going to be deciding who gets the money, but they'll be helping the member base understand the viability of what you are asking. Now, how do we learn how to ride a bike? By falling down and get back up. So if you fail in your pitch, you do what? You just get back up. You learn how to pitch your ideas. You know, there are some conversations that I've just gotten sick of, and I'm not interested in involving myself in those conversations anymore. One of the conversations is, hey, Facebook is not hiring enough black people. Google is not hiring enough black people. Anybody heard that conversation? Raise your hand, you heard that conversation. Yeah. Is it true? Yeah, it's true. Here's a different conversation. Black folks are not creating enough Facebooks. I'm not interested in figuring out how we can get hired. Let me tell you something. If the person works hard, write this down. If they work hard, hire them. If they work smart, partner with them. I'm not interested in being hired. You're not interested in being hired. If you wanted to be hired, get a job. Danielle has some applications for you in the back. So, what we have to do is we have to begin to work smarter. And in working smarter, in Acts, it talks about, Acts chapter 4, pooling your resources together in such a way that none suffer lack. It talks about basically pooling your resources together. Where people don't say that which I have belongs to me, but that which I have belongs to the community. And that we will pool our resources together so that we can all benefit. Hashtag 11 is about what? Collaboration. Collaboration is not doing something so that it benefits me. It's doing something that benefits us all. It's collaborating in such a way that benefits us all. There's sometimes when we need help. Let's be clear about that. I'm asking you for your help. That means I want you to do something that benefits what? Me. But when I say let's collaborate, that's really when we're saying let's do something that benefits us what? All. So one of the things that we've got to start moving towards, we cannot talk that trash about collaboration, and we cannot demonstrate it chapter by chapter by chapter by chapter. Those monies that come in from your membership dues, y'all can guess what kind of banks they're going to, right? They go into black banks. So that, see, here's the thing that I realize. That the black banks, when we go to them, we say, basically, give us some money, right? When they come to us, they say to us, give us your money. So first, we won't be going hat in hand. We'll be going with our deposits. We'll be going with the monies from our organizations so that when we approach them again, we will not be approaching them to say, give. We will be approaching them to say, we want to partner with you. We have to stop begging the banks and we got to start partnering with the banks. And it's not their fault. It's not our fault either. It's basically we are seeing the situation incorrectly, as though they have a responsibility to give us something, and they don't. So what we have to do is take up our responsibility. Our responsibility is I don't care if Bank of America has better choices. It's our responsibility to prop our black banks up so they can be the better choice for our communities. That's our responsibility. They're our banks. We got to build them up if we want to be able to have the type of banks that rival the type of services that we see at the bigger banks. That's our responsibility. So as we come away from the banks, we're starting to move into what we refer to as our social banking initiative for business owners. It's our social banking initiative for black business owners. We've already started having conversations with the trademark attorneys, the learners, the lawyers, the SEC. We've already started having these type of conversations. This is going to happen, and this is going to start right here in Kansas City. We're already starting to have conversations with athletes, with banking professionals, with leaders in the black communities to start donating and contributing to the cause of really funding our black businesses. In addition to it, let's just suppose we got 100 black businesses in this room right now. Each business that we step into, each business that we fund, that chapter will be taking a small ownership share in that business. Why? Because the purpose is to keep growing the revenue of that particular chapter. The more money that's in that chapter, the more money they have to invest in what? The black businesses. What we got to do is we got to invest in our own businesses. Now, are we coming away from the banks permanently? No. We're just coming away temporarily so that when we show back up in the spaces and we show back up in the places, there's a model. There's a demonstration. Funny thing about, and the Bible says where there's a proclamation of power, where there's a proclamation of truth, there'll be a demonstration of power. If what we're talking about is true, there'll be a demonstration of power. If what we're talking about is a lie, there'll be no demonstration of power. It will be weak, it will not work, and it will just be another ideal that went by the wayside. So I told each of you that in the Kansas City chapter, because you are the first official chapter, because of you, the first official chapter, you have the responsibility. You don't hold the space just for yourself, but you hold the space and you set an example for every single black CEO member that joins anywhere around the world. So y'all have a responsibility to get it right. You judge a tree by what? The fruit that it bears. All of y'all are trees. But in between the tree and the fruit are the branches. The responsibility of that tree is to bear the weight of the branches. The responsibility of those branches is to bear the weight of the fruit. The responsibility of that fruit is to protect the seed and provide nourishment. The responsibility of that seed is to create a way to replenish and replace that which was consumed. The problem that we have in the black community is we've been eating our own seed. Period, point blank. We got to stop eating our own seed. I was just in a place where they asked me would we bring our black communities to support their business. And here's what I said to the gentleman. I said, blacks in America, African Americans, are the #1 consumers in the world. That does not make me proud to say that, because what it really says is we eat our own seed. We don't spit the seed out, we eat it. We eat it when we bought the BMW. We eat it when we tried to get the big house. Not that we needed the big house, but we just ate our seed. We just consumed it. And then we got mad because somebody else didn't invest in us and didn't give us money. We ate our investment. And so what I said to them, I said, here's the thing. You coming to us to ask us to bring our people into your business structure is nothing new. It's nothing new. Everybody wants black people to buy from them. You want to know why? Because we're the #1 consumer in the world. That's why they want us to buy from them. But here was my question to them. What commitment have you shown to our community that justifies why we should be committed to supporting your community? And they said, oh, what's that equal? Does that, you want us to write you a sponsorship check? Which we've been bought too many times. So you know what I asked them? What's your 10-year commitment to our community? And then we can talk about our commitment to your what? Community. Because when people invest, as Danielle said, right? When they invest for their own needs. So as we start looking for people to support this movement, it's not about just what they want from us, it's what is their commitment to our community of black CEOs. And if there's not a commitment there, we don't want it. And a commitment beyond, give me a vendor booth, a commitment beyond, give me 15 minutes on stage, a commitment beyond, let me sell my products. I'm talking about real community commitment. But for them to understand that commitment, we have to demonstrate that we actually are a community of people that can get together. Here's the thing. We are now in the era of the rise of membership-driven organizations. And BlackCEO, make no mistakes about it, is a membership-driven organization. You look around. 5 years ago, you want to buy some music, you go to iTunes, you buy your track for 99 cents, you buy the album for $9.99. 5 years later, they don't want you to buy a track. They really want you to buy Apple Music, which is a subscription-based service. They don't want you as a customer, they want you as a member. Volvo, car company. they want to disrupt the market, they basically launched a membership program. They basically said, we don't want you to buy a car anymore. We don't want you to lease a car anymore. $600, become a Volvo member. You don't have to pay for insurance. You don't have to pay for maintenance. You can change your car like every 6 months because we want you to be a member. American Express, they will tell you that we are not a credit card company. They will tell you Visa and MasterCard, those are credit card companies. But American Express, they will tell you we are a membership-driven organization, and our members get access to our card. And it's in their slogan. Membership has its what? Privileges. They are a membership-driven organization. There is Best Buy. Best Buy is a store. But then there's Costco. Costco says we are not a store. We are a membership-driven organization. And as such, our members get access to our warehouse. Look around. Look at the profit and earnings report from Amazon. One of their most profitable items is Amazon Prime. Look around. When T-Mobile launched the Un-carrier movement, they changed from being just a cell phone company to being a membership-driven organization. That's how they took over the 3rd place, coming out of 5th. They say, now we're going to give you Netflix. Now we're going to give you Hulu. Now they just bought a company called Layer 3 so they can provide cable television service. They are setting up memberships. The thing is, around us, what you're seeing in the entrepreneurial landscape is where people are creating membership-driven organizations because they understand that only through membership can you be sustainable. And those memberships have to have resources to sustain the agenda of that organization. If you are not running a membership-driven organization, your business, I'm telling you right now, you are already headed to death. Your business will fail. Because what is going to happen is most of us have been taught in our entrepreneurial space is that capture the client, kill the client, eat the client. CKE. Capture the client, kill the client, eat the client. It's basically, most entrepreneurs live in the land of feast or famine. I eat today, I'm full, but I'm starving tomorrow. I eat this month, but I'm starving next month. Because every month, I got to go back out and I got to hunt a new client. Let me tell you something about a hunter. A hunter, everything they consume, they got to kill it first. But a farmer is different. Everything they consume, they grow it first, and everything they consume, they replenish and they replace it. Every farmer knows that they have a responsibility to not just grow enough for themselves, not just grow enough for their family, but to produce enough for their community. If you ever met a person who was growing vegetables and they only grew enough for themselves, you would not call them a farmer. You would call them a gardener. So as Black CEOs, we are not just people with white t-shirts on with a logo. We are the economic farmers for the next generation of Black entrepreneurs that will come behind us. We are the economic farmers for our families. We are the economic farmers for our communities. Our crops are our businesses. You don't get to walk away with just the responsibility to produce enough revenue for yourself. By the way, if you produce just enough revenue for yourself, that ain't revenue, that's income. You don't get a chance to just walk away with the responsibility of just producing enough for your families. That makes you a gardener. You wore that logo, you joined this chapter, you said I'm a Black CEO, you decided to become a Black economic farmer. And I hold each of you to the responsibility of being profitable to the point that you can produce enough for yourself, for your families, and the communities in which you are responsible. This is Kansas City. This is your community. You are responsible for it. We are now in the era of the rise of membership-driven organizations. I was watching TV the other day, and it's funny, I was looking at what the NRA is doing. And I also looked at what happened with the Parkland survivors. And And they had these powerful gatherings all over the country, and children were walking out of schools, and they showed up in Washington, D.C., and I live in Washington, D.C., so every week there's a big march. Every week there's a march in Washington, every week. And they march, and they get together. And they get together for something that made them angry, something that made them emotional, something that they feel is important. But shortly after they get together, they disperse. Because when you're not together in some type of membership-driven organization, there's no result that you can produce that will be sustainable over a long time. And so I knew what they all knew, that they were going to eventually disperse, because they were never into anything collectively. They were collectively angry, but they were not collectively a part of anything. So the NRA took a hit, but they kept on what? Ticking. Why? They had a conference, they had more members show up this time than any other time in any other conference that they had. Because they are together inside of a membership-driven organization. They have pooled their resources together, and they are using it to control how the politicians vote. And guess what? I ain't mad at them. They pooled their resources together. I'm mad that we ain't pooled ours together. Did anybody in here go to the Million Man March 10, 15, 18 years ago? Did anybody actually go? I went. I was there. Those who went, did anybody join anything? I didn't join anything. You didn't join anything either. There was nothing to join. So what we did is we got together for what collectively made us angry. Then we dispersed. Trayvon Martin and the hundreds of black men who are losing their lives in our communities. To be clear, we do not have the military might as a people to reclaim our resources. We don't have the military might to reclaim our communities. So our war is not a physical war. Our weapons are not machine guns and nuclear weapons. We must use economics. That is the weapon by which we wield. BlackCEO allows us to reclaim that which belongs to us. Our resources. Our resources belong to us. Our families. Reclaiming our young black men, reclaiming our black teenagers, reclaiming our black families. We get to reclaim that. BlackCEO allows us to do that. We get to reclaim our communities. That's not to say that we shouldn't vote. That is not to say that we shouldn't be involved in the politics of the land. But understand that participating and depending is two different things. We participate in the political process, but we depend on each and every person that you are linked with to be a part of that reclamation process. We must reclaim our resources. The only way we're going to reclaim our families, our dignities, our children, our communities, is to start to reclaim those resources. So the reason why BlackCEO has membership dues, the reason why we are a membership-driven organization, so we stop getting together and dispersing. We saw it in Baltimore. They got together, they stood on cars, they burned vehicles, they did all sorts of stuff to express that anger. But they did the one thing, they didn't do the one thing that would have actually made a difference. We did a lot of things to express our anger, but we didn't do one thing that made a difference. And so now we really must get ourselves together in such a way that we start to become an economic force. So for each of you, when you join those chapters, when you pay your dues, when you do these things, we are desirous of pushing those resources back into your businesses, back into your needs, growing our economic might. And for many of us, we won't even live long enough to see the full manifestation of that which we have planted here today. But you'll remember, it started with the Kansas City chapter. There's a documentary done by one of the movie guys here that covered the Kansas City Black Panther organization. And it's the thing about it. We're reading about it in our time. But those people who were there, it was happening in their time. Right now, it's happening in this time. Your children and my children will read about it in their time. So for each of you, take your membership seriously. When this gets out, you won't have a problem looking for members. You'll have a problem trying to figure out where to meet at. When we created BlackCEO, we understood one thing, that for this thing to work, we had to go viral. And so here's what I'll tell you in closing, is that what does it mean to go viral? Viral is when your PR campaign outperforms your marketing campaign. Marketing is what you say about yourself. PR is what others say about you. Every time you market your business, you say, my product is great, my service is great, my mission is great. BlackCEO is great, BlackCEO products is great, BlackCEO t-shirts are great. That's what we're saying about ourselves. But PR is what others say about you. And that for this organization to truly be significant, our PR campaign must outperform our marketing campaign. That is to say that what others say about the work that we're doing here must outperform what we are saying about what we do here. And so you'll be inviting newspapers in, you'll be inviting in television stations, because every month, the one thing that you'll be able to hold up is another black business that you just invested in. They will come by the droves. So each of you, you are expected to step into a leadership role. It's no coincidence that all of you are sitting here right now. There's a whole lot of work to be done because there's a whole lot of people coming. When y'all see those first flyers and those first social media images that go up and those advertising that go up that says, can we invest in your black businesses? Check out BlackCEO Kansas City grants. They'll be showing up at your meetings by the groves, because if I walked up to you and said, can I invest in your black business, what would you say? What about when you put out there that we are looking to invest in 100,000 black businesses? Can we invest in your black business? BlackCEO Kansas grants. You think that you're going to have to go looking for people? No. But they'll need instruction. They'll need organization. They'll need leadership. They'll need integrity. They'll need you. So I want to encourage you to not just pay your member dues. That's the minimum of what's expected in here. Everybody pays your membership dues, because this ain't their community, this is ours. You pay this before you pay the light bill. This is not the first time this has been done in the world. If you were in the Caribbean, they would call it a susu. If you were in South Africa, they would call it a Stockfail. If you've never read the book, The Jewish Phenomenon, they do it through their synagogue system. They do it in India. It goes by many names, but it's the same things. Communities invested in their communities. So Donetta will not just need your membership dues. She will need your commitment. She will need your skill sets. She will need your gifts. She will need that which you were called to bring to this situation. And to be clear, there are some things that we're going to have to trade out of and some things that we're going to have to trade up to. So whatever you thought was possible, throw that out. Because there's a higher vision, there's a higher mission, there's much more to be accomplished. In each of you, you can expect that we will be pushing not just you, but your businesses, your ideas, and your concepts to another level. We will be pushing you beyond what you are comfortable with. We are trading out of our old ideas about what we believe was possible for ourselves, what we believe was possible for our businesses, what we believe was possible for our communities, and we're trading up and we're elevating into a new freedom. The day of our new freedom is not. And we each must step into it with the best of what we have to bring to the situation. They are coming. And when the doors open, we, the Kansas City chapter, we have to be ready, because they are coming. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the BlackCEO chapter. But the work has just begun in each of you. I'm looking forward to investing in your businesses. But just because there's a check doesn't mean there's an automatic yes. there's some responsibilities that you each will have. Is can you stand in that kitchen? It gets hot. Where's the young lady that was up here on the stage volunteering? That was standing next to Danielle. It was a little hot in that kitchen, right? It get a little hot in the kitchen, don't it, right? But guess what? If the kitchen ain't hot, you can't cook no food. So this kitchen is gonna get hot. People gonna push you. People gonna challenge you. But don't let your ego get the best of you. BlackCEO is an initiative to produce or to create collaborative environments amongst the black communities of the world for the purpose of teaching about, creating, and building business-based wealth so that we can become the economic engine for the causes that we care about. The purpose of BlackCEO is to keep black businesses in business. So next year, I don't want to see less businesses, I want to see more businesses that are represented. We want to see you at the conferences, we want to see you at the meetings, but the one thing you know is that there's a reason for you to show up at those meetings. Every BlackCEO meeting is considered to be like a class in session. We consider them to be BlackCEO pop-up universities. And in those meetings, there will be people teaching you and training you with their expertise to help you get your business to the next level. I was born in Washington, D.C. I was a preemie. And as a preemie, they don't let you out of the hospital. They put you in a what? They put you in an incubator till you can breathe. The problem is, many times, we have been funding businesses. The banks have been funding businesses. The SBA has been funding businesses. But we've been putting you out there before you can breathe. Most of us are first generation black businesses. If I was to tell y'all the truth, 90% of y'all businesses are prematurely formed. The business plan ain't there, the marketing ain't there, the branding ain't there, the sales structure ain't there. Y'all are prematurely formed. And this is the truth. So to keep you from going out to the world trying to breathe, we need to put you in an incubator so we can feed you and take care of you until you're strong enough to breathe. Danielle, what's the failure rate among small business owners in the first 5 years?
It's crazy. It's like 65.22% or something crazy like that.
Yep. In the first 5 years. It's even worse for black businesses. So inside of BlackCEO, we are creating not just a way to feed you, but to put you inside of an incubator so that we can protect your businesses till it's strong enough to breathe. I told you before, we're all trees. The purpose of the tree is to bear the weight of the branches. The purpose of the branch is to bear the weight of the fruit. The purpose of the fruit is to protect the seed. Each of y'all businesses represent seeds. We have to protect you until you're strong enough to breathe on your own. So what are some of the other things that you'll be looking forward to? We're already starting the process of creating a private equity raise for BlackCEO, because what we will be doing over the next 5 to 7 years is creating BlackCEO co-working spaces all over the country. When y'all hold your meetings, we hold them in hotels now, but there'll come a day where you won't be holding them in your hotels or their hotels. You'll be holding them in your own BlackCEO co-working spaces. And those co-working spaces serve as today's modern business school for black CEOs. And it will serve as an incubator so that we can protect your businesses. I do agree that Facebook and Google and every other company you want to mention doesn't hire enough blacks in their businesses. But I also agree that not enough blacks are creating the next Facebook, Googles, and businesses that we can hire our own people. So these investments represent the seeds that we will be planting in each of you. So what is next for you? Number one, it's now time to go tell the story. It's now time to go reach out to those friends and family members of yours that have a desire to create a business. What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is having the courage and the will to live out the big ideas of your life. There are a lot of people, every entrepreneur will go into business, but not every business owner is an entrepreneur. We're looking for people who have the courage and the will to live out the big ideas of their life, to be more innovative, to do something that's never been done before, to do something that is disruptive. By disruptive, that is to do something so revolutionary that it changes the very fabric of a person's thinking. What we're doing here as BlackCEO is disruptive. It's not something that the Chamber of Commerce is doing. It's not something that you're seeing the NAACP doing. And that's fine because that's not their mandate. But it's our mandate. And so when we fly that BlackCEO flag, it should represent the fact that every single person who sees the logo, who sees the brand, that they know that it's a safe place for them to come and grow their business, that they know that it's a safe place where they can come to learn how to be true entrepreneurs, that it represents a safe place where they can collaborate with people who look like them for the purposes of generating business-based wealth. And by the way, there are a lot of different ways to generate wealth. Some people do it through investments, and some people do it through inheritance, and some people just work hard. BlackCEO has one mandate: business-based wealth. That is our primary mandate. So here, when we start looking at the businesses, we got one question: are you creating and generating business-based wealth? Our wealth will be created by the businesses we create. So don't just come with your recycled ideas. We're not interested. Come with the new idea that will challenge the norms, that will be so revolutionary, that it will change the very fabric of a person's thinking. When Apple launched the iPhone, the biggest thing about it was, prior to that, phones had buttons that you pressed, 10 buttons, and you pressed it and it went in. When the iPhone released, the most revolutionary thing about it was a phone with one button. But it was so revolutionary that it changed the very fabric of our thinking about what was truly possible with a phone. Now our phones are our computers. We live by them. So go out and dare to be the next Apple. Go out and dare to be the next Instagram. Go out and dare to be the next Google. Heck, go out and be the next MoviePass. Anybody know what MoviePass is? Anybody seen the card? By the way, if you don't know, some brothers that own that. Because they dared to change the very fabric of our thinking. They were disruptive. Entrepreneurship is the courage and the will to live out the big ideas of your life. If it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. So dream big, but do bigger. When we cooperate, 1 + 1 = 2. But when we collaborate, 1 and 1 = 11. Hashtag. 11. Hashtag. 11. Everybody stand up. Find a partner, stand next to him. Quickly. We'll do it together. Okay. Here's the thing. The thing that I learned about collaboration, and the thing that God showed me about collaboration was, for years, I always thought that collaboration was doing something, getting together to do something that helps me. I'm like, oh, let's all collaborate. Which really means, let's get together around another one of Trevor's wacky ideas so that Trevor can get rich. But I had to learn that true collaboration is getting together in such a way that benefits us all. And so even last year, it's funny because even last year I was like, yeah, I got it right. Good, Trevor. BlackCEO is great. The thing that I learned was, for a whole year, every time we do the hashtag 11, that it's like, oh yeah, when we cooperate, 1 + 1 = 2, and when we collaborate, 1 + 1 and 1 = 11. I was making 11 by myself. And so, as much as we were talking about collaboration, we couldn't even collaborate enough to even create the 11. So, by the way, Donetta, you can stay next to Danielle. That's a good collaboration partner for you. That's a good collaboration partner. Do you have a partner? You stay next to your partner? So, as we do it, as we say it, and we'll end every Black CEO meeting this way, is we will say the statement, when we cooperate, 1 + 1 = 2, but when we collaborate, 1 and 1 = 11. Let's stand next to you for just a second. Would you put your finger up for just a second? But when you make see, right now we're just standing next to each other. I thought that was collaboration too. That ain't. You got to get in there with somebody. You gotta get bonded with them. You understand? You gotta get connected with them. So when we do this, you will not just make an 11 by yourself. You won't be like, oh, I'm standing next to you. That's collaboration. That ain't collaboration. But we must embrace it. We must embody it in our spirit. I'm telling you right now, we're not getting out of this new wilderness with just, worldly means. It's a spiritual battle. You better know that money is spiritual. You better know that you are up against some other forces that if you don't get it together here, we ain't going nowhere. So, on the count of 3, we will say our collaborative statement. Everybody got a partner? Good. 1, 2, 3. When we cooperate, 1 + 1 = 2. But when we collaborate, 1 and 1 = 11. Hashtag 11? Hashtag 11? Hashtag 11? Kansas City, let's go out and change the world. It's our time. It's our time. Our new freedom is now.
All right. It is time for our earth-shaking, world-changing Pitch Fest. And so what we're going to do, we're a little behind schedule, so I'm going to need the pitch candidates.
Hey, Mark.
Those
How you
who
doing?
are going
How you
to
doing?
pitch
Pretty
today.
good.
I'm going to need you to come on this side of the
Hey, my friend.
these two tables over here.
Shay, I think you next, by the way. Oh, by the way, I loved your makeover. I think Shay next. Somebody next.
I'm doing something with the kids. I have no idea.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know something coming up.
He told me to go in and say hello to the kids about 11:30. So
Okay, that was great.
Yeah, I didn't really have nothing to talk about. Well, I
It was
shouldn't
good.
say that, but-
That's what I told you before. You stepped right into the truth. You stepped right into the truth with them.
with the kids,
Yeah. What time you fly out?
Not until tomorrow.
Oh, I'm here tomorrow too. I'm here till Sunday night.
Yeah, I think my flight is at noon.
new flight.
Yeah. I think I'll teach them 100 tonight, Shay. Yeah, I think I'll teach them 100 tonight. Okay.
Yeah, because I think. Oh, is your mic on?
I think that'll be good for them.